Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video, and this video is going to be potential trades for Jack Eichel in 2021. I made a video like this a year ago, and things change. I mean, I think for a situation like the Buffalo Sabres now, it's become even more difficult. They're still losing, and there's still a bunch of questions. I mean, they've improved in some areas, but for Jack Eichel, under a point per game, he doesn't look motivated. He doesn't look like he's got the passion for this team right now. And there's just so much like miscommunication. Jack Eichel says he wasn't hurt in this situation, and then Ralph Kruger says something else, and then you just look at the big picture of $27 million for 3 players, 3 goals. It's a mess right now. So Jack Eichel trades, I don't think it would happen in the season. Elliot Friedman in 31 Thoughts says it probably won't happen in the season because of a lot of teams not being able to do it, except for one team that I'll talk about. And it's just probably more likely, if it does happen, to happen in the offseason. But we're getting close to the trade deadline. We're getting closer to a run for some of these teams. The Buffalo Sabres, it doesn't look like they'll be one of those teams. So will they make a lot of moves? Taylor Hall, Eric Stahl? Well, let's first look at the biggest star for this team, Jack Eichel. What trades could happen if it happens? And if it does happen, not till the offseason, let's look at it. So the Boston Bruins. This is interesting. He played for Boston University. He's from Mass. So DeBrusk, Moore, Vekanainen, Stanika, 2 firsts. I'm just throwing some packages here for certain players. Like I do it all the time, right? So it's tough to do it for a franchise center. You're not going to win this trade most likely unless you just hit the jackpot with a certain player or hit the jackpot with one of your first round picks, right? So it's tough. And the Boston Bruins don't have like these crazy prospects to give away. So I think at least 2 first round picks if it was the Boston Bruins. DeBrusk I think would have to be part of this. I've seen other mock trades. It's like, why is DeBrusk not part of them? At least he gives some value back to the Buffalo Sabres, and Vekanainen's a decent prospect. John Moore, just in terms of cap, Boston Bruins getting rid of it. Stanika's another interesting one. So it would have to be at least this for me. I think it would have to be more, and that's why I don't think the Boston Bruins can make a trade like this happen. The Ottawa Senators. So this is like at the very least, it has to be Josh Norris or Brandstrom part of it. It has to be, for me, one of the defensive prospects, which probably ends up being Brandstrom. Colin White, I could see it being that younger guy, with the Buffalo Sabres top 6 role, and then a first round pick and a second round pick at least. I could see it maybe being 2 first round picks or a first round pick and another prospect. I think the 2 untouchables for Ottawa, maybe 3 untouchables, are Stützle, Tkachuk, and Shabbat. So I don't think these guys will be part of the trade. Obviously the Buffalo Sabres will want Stützle for sure, but I just don't think the Ottawa Senators do it. Unless like they wanted to do like Stützle and Colin White, like then the Ottawa Senators go, But no, Stützle's like rookie contract right now. It just makes sense to keep him, and he could be a real stud. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't think they would touch or let those guys go. I think it would be more of like a Norris and then Batherson and then Brandstrom be in there. So, again, it's this at the very least. I mean, I know some fans, Sens fans, and then Habs fans are going to complain about giving up a lot. If you want a Jack Eichel, a top 5 centerman in the league, you gotta pay. You gotta give to get. So it's going to be Kotkaniemi or Suzuki. I think it makes a difference on between who those guys, or which of those guys would be in the trade, right? If it's Suzuki, you're giving up less. For me, Suzuki has a lot more value. If it's Kotkaniemi, it has to be Kotkaniemi and Caulfield probably, and then Romanoff as well. I think you could probably construct a trade without Caulfield, and it would have to be like Suzuki. I could see it being like Suzuki, maybe like Norlinder or Gooley, and like a forward prospect, and then a first and second round pick. But even that for me is not enough. If I'm the Buffalo Sabres and I want to wake up and feel like I got enough, it's got to be a guy that I feel like can play in the top 6, and he's doing it right now, which is a top 6 player, Kotkaniemi, a top potential line prospect, which is Caulfield. Again, you're getting Jack Eichel. I think people forget that. You're getting Jack Eichel, a top 5 center in the league. Imagine Eichel and Suzuki up the middle. And then Romanoff, you got to give to get, as I said. And then Byron, just a contract going back, and then a first-round pick. To me, it's got to be this. It would have to be this for the Buffalo Sabres to do it, at least. Because at the very best for the Buffalo Sabres, Caulfield becomes a 30-goal scorer. At the very best. I don't see him becoming much more than that. And Romanoff, a top 4 defenseman. The Montreal Canadiens, you're still not losing that deal. You got Jack Eichel. You literally got Jack Eichel. So even if those 2 players become that and Kotkaniemi becomes a solid second-line center, you still got Jack Eichel. You can sign guys in free agency. Look what you got you got Tyler Toffoli for free. Like, you can get these guys still, in free. So it's just like Jack Eichel. You have to give to get. I can't stress that enough. Same thing with the Flames. I was naive enough to say like Monahan, a first, a prospect, and Bennett like a year ago could be enough. It's not enough. It would have to be probably Monahan, and like I list here, Zari, Pelche, a couple draft picks, like a first being it, and then maybe Bennett in there as well. I think, honestly, the Buffalo Sabres would want both Monahan and Gaudreau in this deal. And honestly, if you're Calgary, you still might consider doing that because you might lose Gaudreau in free agency anyways. And having a big three, a top line. Imagine having a top line of Eichel, Lindholm, and Tkachuk. That would be insane. That would be one of the best lines in hockey by far. And yeah, it's a conversation to be had. Like the Flames for me would be a good fit for Eichel. And maybe it's Monahan, Gaudreau, a prospect, and a first. Maybe it's Monahan, Gaudreau, a first. Maybe it's Monahan, Zari, Pelche, a first, and another piece. I don't know, but I think the Flames are a fit here. The Kings, so they have prospects. They have the prospects. Iafallo could get re-signed, so maybe it's not Iafallo. Maybe it's Kempe going to the Buffalo Sabres. But I think Turcotte is the guy here in this deal because I just look at Byfield. I don't think they want to lose Byfield. I think he fits what they could potentially be doing going forward. I think if they brought in Eichel and had a 1-2 monster of Eichel and Kopitar, and then they have Velarde who can play the center and play the wing, and then they have also Byfield coming in. So I think Turcotte would be the guy I feel like part of it. Jordan Spence, underrated defensive prospect, and then a first round pick. Like it would have to be at least this, I feel like. The only reason I'm saying first round pick, top 5 protected is because this would be a situation where the Kings, for the Sabres, they could hit the jackpot. If they say this trade happened before the draft and they, or before the draft lottery, for example, what if they did this during the season, right? We don't know where the Kings will finish in the division. They could end up getting a top 5 pick. So it doesn't have to be top 5 protected, but I'm just saying in terms of the Kings' perspective, they're still rebuilding, retooling. I don't think they want to give up like a first or second overall pick if it ends up being that. The Kings are actually doing well right now, so it might not be that. And the Rangers, again, I'm saying top 5 protected if they were to finish like really low, and if it was to happen this season. But again, probably off-season move. But I think it's the Benajad, Kraftstoff for me. A lot of people say it has to be Kakko or Lafreniere. I don't think it necessarily. I think if it's Zibanejad and Kraftstoff, then that gets the Sabres thinking. Georgiev. I think Georgiev and Allmark would be that tandem that the Sabres want. Maybe a defensive prospect like Matthew Robertson and a first-round pick. This, for me, is the most realistic out of anything I just listed. In terms of, I think the Rangers are hungry to give up, and I think they would give up a prospect like Kraftstoff if it meant getting Jack Eichel. Imagine a top line of Eichel, Lafreniere, and Panarin or something, or Kakko, Eichel and Lafreniere, or Panarin. I think that would be insane. So this is the package for me. Zibanejad, you get your top line center in Buffalo. Hopefully he can do something well there. Georgiev, great tandem there with Allmark. Kraftstoff, top 6 forward potential, and Matthew Robertson, defensive prospect, could be a top 4 defenseman, and then the first round pick. So if you're Buffalo, you get the haul here, and if you're the New York Rangers, you get your number 1 center. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. I think there's a bunch of other teams that could go after Eichel. Again, this is very, for me, still unlikely. I think the Buffalo Sabres would have to get the big package, and Eichel would have to ask for the trade, which that part is likely, right? That part is likely. So we'll see what happens. Subscribe, like, and comment. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.